in the green to hit before my soul is get the hip, I'm gonna sit on my knees and begin to plead nobody for the to have mercies and begin get the hip, I'm gonna sit off on me, I'm gonna be nobody for to turn me out, I'm gonna get sick in the green, my soul is bound, get sick in the green, my soul is bound for hell, I'm gonna
Coming to you live from the Poison Point studio, it's Neo!
Good evening, my esteemed watchers, and welcome to another episode of Poison Points. I'm your host, Irisu Neo, and tonight I welcome you to the suite. Oh my god, I messed up my words already. First things first, before I get into introductions, I am having some. Who am I? I'm Neo. Of course I am. Hello, Beryl, and hello, PK. Hello, Chance, and Table. I believe I saw somebody else. Nyx, Soul, thank you for the sub, by the way, and I hope that you have a great time on stream. And thank you, Buffy, for subscribing for, 15 months. Let's go. Oh god, that was weird. That was strange. Irisu Neo, ya gooper. I need to let everybody know beforehand that I've been trying and trying and trying almost all day to get my follow alert to work. It will not. Nothing I've done seems to work with StreamerBot. So I will have to put that on like a postpone thing until I figure out how to do it in a different app or bot because it just won't work. I've done absolutely all I can. So I apologize that you do not have access to my sweet and cute little follow alert. And yes, if you all donate about 16k per stream, you will make it in a rough ballpark estimate to the Waking Her Up challenge. If you happen to make that, I will wake up Irisu for you. And, well, it's your choice at that point. I will remain true to my word. Oh yes, hello, Wolf. Speaking of joining, if you would like to join the Discord, by all means, feel free. I have been working harder to have an event every once or twice a month that we can include all viewers in. So if that sounds interesting to you, then by all means, hit that link right there and you'll be sent squared away and have the ability to be verified in our very own Discord. Secondly, I am doing a little bit better about it, but it still needs improvement. I am working on both my TikTok and my YouTube. So, socials. You'll be able to find me there in the announcements. That shouldn't play multiple times during the stream. So, hopefully, it works out. If it does, I will fix it. I believe I've covered all bases. How is everybody? I am basically going to be doing my second 50-hour week in a row starting tomorrow because my other half in terms of dishwashing at my job has come down with the big COVID. So there she is, still being moody as always. No, you're in Costa Rica with COVID? I'm so sorry, Beryl. I give you all of the love. Please take care of yourselves. I wish the virus away. You know, technically, I actually had COVID for a little bit. And back then in the day, I had no choice but to work because my work would not give me any hours to take that time off. So I worked and suffered all the way through it. I social distanced. I did everything I can to remain safe. I wore the mask and everything. But it was hell. I went home every night coughing. And no cough drops would fix that end of the day rush. So, you think you broke your toe? Well, what are you doing in bed with Beryl? I didn't get any souvenirs here, but I'll save my mom's for Salem, my mun's for Salem, so I could buy unreasonable amounts of weird witchy shit. Well. Mitsura. I saw Hikari in there, and I know Rig was also donating to the challenge because I could see all of those precious points being spent. All of those precious points that could have been also used for the class change. Don't you want to take a consistent, guaranteed chance at unlocking Irisu yourself? What is it? 100 million on 1 billion points? There's Headbad Hand, star of the show. He works in the background. He keeps that monitor nice and the top of it unsmudged. Listen, he's doing his best. He does what I tell him to, and just like 1 quintillion, it's not 1 quintillion. I promise. More billion points is a bit out of my budget. You could all be there someday. You could all participate in illegal gambling and maybe use predictions to start siphoning your points towards one person. That would have made it easy, actually. Buffy has the most points on this channel, so it would have been worth it for you to bet towards them and have them win. Well, that is definitely up to the mods to do. I am low frame rate for some reason. My phone has been very strange. I just want to mention that on top of the follow issues, for the last 2 days, it has taken me 12 hours to charge my phone up to 100%. I have started this stream at 72, so we'll see if it lasts the full 2 hours on low power mode. So, I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening. Listen, money makes the world go round, but I don't have any money to make my world go round. So if you would like to help donate to the cause, I do work very hard on all of these streams. And, well, I get zero compensation for it. So if you would like to help out in any way, I do recommend subscribing, but that is not the most efficient way to make sure that I get the full donation, more specifically through Ko-Fi or Coffee. That is a little bit more efficient. I don't like pushing that, and I've always disliked saying, hey, will you please go do this for me? Especially like trying to make sure that the full amount reaches my pocket. But it is the truth. It is a call to action. Any little bit does help. Speaking of which, thank you, Buffy, and thank you, Soul, for your resubs. And thank you for the headpads, champs. I'll be there soon. Very soon. I'm going to take a sip of water. Did I turn on that redeem, by the way? I did. Everything is weird, but everything is getting better. My streak of having a bad day for or a bad week, I should say, for every good 2 days, is starting to slowly close in the gap. So, we're getting there, I promise. Seems like sometimes, whenever I take a step upwards, every so often, it's like 5 steps back down. It would take a tier 3 subs and 178 years to reach the class change. Well, that's just one person. And that doesn't account for the gambling, right? Well, I guess we'd better start saving for that consistent way. Look, I'm sure that some people have done it. I am the nicest little being. All right, that's enough of that. We've had our introductions of ourselves. It's time to, well, get into the main event. Let's see if I can do this properly and speedily. It may look weird. You know what? Never mind. We're gonna take this the safe approach. Introducing our guest for this evening. It's the one and only Lyra of Nova Swarm.
Well, hello.
Hello, Lyra. Thank you for joining me this evening. And chat, please give a warm welcome to a purple friend, because we love purple.
Thank you for inviting me on the show. First time on here, obviously.
Yes, this is, well, you are the kicker for the beginning of this month. I just realized I don't have music, so let me get that started. You are the kicker for this month's theme of space VTubers, and it's a pleasure that you are my first guest.
I hope I don't disappoint.
No, I am. It's weird because to say that I have low standards is like an insult, but I'm the most casual person on the planet, and I love all of those that sit in that chair in front of me because I get to pick your brain, and, well, you have no choice but to answer.
I'm stuck here, guys.
Yeah. People wonder how I poison beings that might not be poisonable, but the real question is, why do they keep showing up?
Maybe they wanted to be caught. Just
That's-
maybe.
So
Never know.
it's like the early onset stages of Stockholm Syndrome. They just can't help but be on this show.
We'll go with that for now. Don't tell them, Chad.
Before we move on to the questions, can we get a little bit of a sound check? Lyra sounds fine in my ears, but you never know. The stream audio could be strange and finicky, so... Don't worry, the inability to move is just the side effect of the highly active poison. Now, don't worry about it. It's also nice and tingly, so...
Almost get addicted to something like this.
You think it's pretty well balanced, sounds good. Alright, at any point though, if anybody feels like Lyra is too quiet, I'm too quiet or loud, vice versa, all the way across the board, just let me know, because listening back to my VODs, I've actually realized there's been a bit of a sound problem, and I'm trying to figure it out, but it's hard, so. Alright, well, Lyra, to start off this momentous occasion and interview with you, I have a question from our last interviewee, two actually. Mostly because I thought they were both very good questions to start off. The first one, coming from Sane, a month ago, because that was when I last interviewed. Sane wanted to know, if you weren't a VTuber, what would you be aiming for instead?
That's kind of a strange one because for some of us, VTubing isn't quite the end all be all. This is more of a yes, my nightly escapades and excuse to play video games, other than just saying I'm going to play video games. But I suppose, you know what? That's actually kind of a tricky one.
Oh yes, that's why I wanted to ask it, because
It's
as people who stream, and especially on top of that being a VTuber, which is a lot of time, energy, and assets put in, now that you're here, it's hard to think of yourself doing something differently.
I do have to say too, the time slot I generally stream at, because I'm actually different times from you and actually the rest of the swarm, is already very late. So what else would I do with my time? I would be playing video games and not streaming them. Therefore, just video games for enjoyment instead of putting on shows for others and possibly getting the subscribes.
No.
But I suppose I get, like, in all realness though, I'd probably go back to maybe using that time to, I don't know, draw personal projects.
Okay.
Look for other venues of work or mission work, as it were.
Mm-hmm. So it's more of the personal life that you'd like to work on and enjoy if you weren't putting on the show.
Suppose. Because I know, especially nowadays, a lot of the art I'm doing is mostly geared towards the channel, which is not a bad thing. Okay, I don't want that to sound like it's a bad thing, but I have to actively find the time and motivation to work on personal projects.
This is fair. And, what a better motivation than a joint effort between you, Rig, and Lyra, oh my god, Ellie.
Lyra.
you and you.
Yes.
And the channel. But you also, you basically can work on your personal life while doing that. You further, double Lyras. You further your goals by doing it. And, you made me an amazing, incredible pice of art that I've used everywhere. I love it. The one of me in the booth.
It.
Yes. Whenever one of my friends receives your handcrafted art, the hand painted, they love to show it off to me, to everybody else. They love the doodles and everything. Now everyone's not going to let me live down the double Lyras.
Yes, little does everybody know, the swarm is actually a hive mind. It's only me.
Oh,
Lyra
yes.
forever. Always Lyra. I'm totally kidding.
That does lead me on to a second question. Sort of. It's not really related, but I like to lead into weird questions. The second one from Sane was, if you could choose to retire anywhere in the world, where would you retire to and why?
There's actually a couple places, mostly because in my own background, I've moved many times. So staying in one place has not like ever been a thing per se, but I know, oh gosh, somewhere with mountains or hills of sorts. I come from flatland, you see, so anytime I go traveling to a place that, you know, has different terrain, it's always very exciting. Somewhere between like very exciting and very homey, which is very strange. So Pacific Northwest is like a ideal spot, honestly. You have ocean and mountains, good stuff.
I can confirm.
There's also a oh my gosh, this is so specific, although I'm not, at least I hope I'm not doxing anything of any sort. But the capital of Ecuador, Quito, is like absolutely gorgeous. It's this little city. Actually, I shouldn't say little. No, it is a city like in the middle of like 5 volcanoes, which already sounds pretty metal. Like, oh, what if they like went off? But no, the place is gorgeous. Okay, absolutely, and it's maybe like, you know, a couple hours away from the beach. So it's one of those like, yes, that would be a nice like retire type of area. Good vibes, you know, people very active, great food. Oh my gosh.
I mean, the first descriptor that came to your mind was little, because for whatever reason, when something's homey, you kind of refer to it as that. It's comfortable, comforting, because it is a little space to you, even if it's not really the case.
Because even though, let's say, like, you know, I'm familiar with big cities, and you know, they're big, dense cities. Too many people on top of each other, people and rats on top of each other. Just oh my gosh. But if that's been your comfort zone, like, or you've, you know, just grown up around that sort of environment, that becomes this little area to you when it's really not. By definition, it is not.
Even in that case, because I've lived in a big city my whole life. I lived in a little city for a while. You still kind of go around the same area, like the same routine spots for yourself. Like, if you know you're not going to be comfortable on that side of the city, you're not going to go there unless there's an event that someone invited you. So maybe I'm the weird one, and I should probably explore my own city a little bit more, but that's just me. That's homey to me.
Well, then your little city suddenly becomes big city, and you're like, I never knew we had this.
Yeah, and then
this has been here the whole time? What?
And then after many trips, it becomes little again, because now you're used to it.
That's so fun how that happens. I love that.
Yeah, and it's also why people probably refer to like meeting somebody in person as, oh, it's a small world, because in reality, it is. Some people are just a lot closer than you may think. And I know that the three of you fly out together to participate in cons and to hang out. So yeah, to you it's a small world to meet with the both of them.
Oh yes, indeed.
That's why people from New York call it the Little Apple. Yes, this is true. So Lyra, why did you become a VTuber? How did you get from where you were to where we see you today as the arachnid android? Yes? Yes,
there's, oh gosh, that almost has 2 or 3 different answers, but I'm going to try and condense a bit of it, because I know Ellie will probably touch on this even more so, because it wasn't a solo. The idea stemmed from Ellie. Fully, because Ellie, Rig, and I have been friends for quite some time, and we all have sort of talents and skill sets that sort of complement one another. So Ellie came with this idea of, hey, why don't we just become VTubers? We all have these, again, like skill sets to basically make things on our own. We don't have to commission anybody. We don't have to save up money for assets or any of that sort. We can just take the time and create our little area, our little show together. And the bug theme is kind of what would you say that? Like, not quite subliminal, but I've always loved bugs. 100%. I'm the bug lover of the group. Growing up, I used to pick up grasshoppers and praying mantises because I thought they were neat and pretty and I loved them. And so we kind of worked off of that in a way. Ellie chose her call sign as dragonfly, meaning, you know, being a source of like lucky, being agile, you know, she's our front line. Rig had chosen a hornet, something a little bulkier, stronger, you know, like the one hit KOs, if you will. And of course, I'm arachnid because I love arachnids, or I love spiders the most. I think they're pretty neat, and we have, you know, a fair bit in common. The sort of look very intimidating, but really we just want a little spot to ourselves and make webs all day.
The webs being, well, things to catch your friends in and suck out their juices.
Sure, that, or, you know, just artsy things.
Also, hello, Victor Spaceman, and thank you for the raid.
Vector, welcome on in.
Vector
was actually just playing through our latest project.
Oh yes, I actually mentioned this like in the pre-stream, and I forgot to say this out loud here, but I want to play your game because, one, it looks amazing, and I have a secret love of visual novels. I just don't have a lot of like the drive or time to play them, and what better month to play a horror visual novel than October? So
yeah, you definitely need a certain mindset to go through a visual novel, to just, you know, sit, read out everything, you know, maybe even put the effort to do a little voice acting if you're into that, and, you know, try and go through as many options and as many endings as possible.
Well, Vector, did you happen to finish it? No spoilers, of course, but how did you enjoy the game? And while Vector is busy typing that out, when did the three of you decide to collaborate together to make this group? When was the maybe not the exact day, but the ballpark estimate of when this was decided?
I'm gonna get this year wrong, because I feel like we're going in on our time is but a construct. I do not perceive time very well at all.
No, it's fine.
In the slightest bit. Because I'm about to say, oh, we've only been streaming for 1 year, but it's like, that doesn't sound right. I feel like we're going on 2 years now. Or like just about.
I think it is too, because when I first started, I knew about you all, and then it wasn't until much later that I like started really spending time in your chat, and I've actually just hit my 12-month subscription with y'all. So
okay, see, there we go. And here Ellie can confirm we took about a year to develop. So yeah, roughly around the time everyone you know, had to stay indoors for a variety of reasons. In a way that was like, oh well, we're all stuck here, let's make a project, why don't we?
And here you go, you have and
here we are.
Almost, I would assume, 100% free, because it's from your own hands, VTuber collaborative together.
That sounds just about accurate.
Yeah. I've enjoyed that idea. It's what has intrigued me with the three of you, that not only in your lore that you all perform different functions and cover each other in specific ways, but also in the real life that you have your own sets of talents that can reach far and wide, for you, the net or the web, and it just works out almost perfectly for you. But with that being said, you know, with the three of you working together, what about the type of content that you create? What is your focus on when the three of you are not necessarily collaborating on one thing and it's just you? that is all of your passion?
Do you mean like in regards to the channel specifically, or just within like my own skill set?
Whenever you stream, like what do you like to stream? And in terms of your own skill set, yes.
Well, the few times that we've done art-based streams, I usually like just these sort of open illustrative things. The Poke draws that we're still doing, those are always very fun. That's just, oh, we've selected our Pokemon and we just have to draw them within a square canvas so that they all fit together and it looks really neat towards the end. There was a time a couple months ago, oh gosh, I need to do that again. Well, first of all, Ellie gifted me a hand cam because of the three of us, I enjoy traditional art a lot. That's how I started. And even right now, I'm doing ink works for October, not specifically, the ink challenge, because there's been, that's a whole nother can of worms. But anyway, I'm using the time to make traditional works again. So that's a thing that I know that's, I guess, more geared towards my own skill set. Just doing the traditional work and having that hand cam up and doing like, pen, ink, all that good stuff. And then game-wise, my favorite things to stream are RPGs. I think the last several games I completed were just JRPGs. Because that's just what I do. I love doing it. I love the strats behind it. I love the story. I love the lore. I love the way it looks. It's all good stuff. That's like the one thing that, so I guess the one sort of genre I tend to get the most. Because even then, like between the three of us, we tend to stick towards certain genres, and not that it's like specific towards us, but it's more so like legit things that we enjoy the most. So again, that goes back to how we complement one another. So it's not like we're all playing shooters. It's not that we're all playing RPGs or we're all playing like one thing or another. We're all like, we all have our own little set desires, and we use that to stream a variety of things.
And not to rat you out, but sort of to rat you out, whenever I come home and I look at what you're playing in Discord, I happen to see a lot of Final Fantasy XIV and a lot of Genshin Impact.
Okay, well, I just got back into Genshin Impact recently. That's been, I need to catch up. I need to do my dailies. I need to pull for whoever's on the banner. And same thing with Final Fantasy. It's just, I need to do my dailies. I need to keep up with the new stuff. The 6.5 patch just came out. It's, these things that are constantly updating.
Now, just as like a personal question outside of what I usually talk about, what like about Genshin pulls you in? Would you say you're more in it for the gacha elements, or are you in it for the RPG elements?
It drew me in from the character designs. I'm not gonna lie about that. 100% it drew me in, and I'm using it as like a husbando collector essentially. But that being said, the gameplay is what keeps me. There's the one thing that grabs you into a game, or like, I want to see what that's about. But then there's another element of it that keeps you. And I'm about to reveal here that I've never like played Breath of the Wild. I know it plays very similar, and that's what I like about Genshin Impact. I like that it's, that sort of open world. I get to run around and use these elemental reactions. I think it's neat. Big numbers are fun.
Well, now that you like obviously know that it plays a lot like Breath of the Wild in terms of the exploration and climbing, why not try Breath of the Wild today?
My excuse will be time, but that doesn't actually mean anything, because I could use that time, towards actually playing Breath of the Wild. But then it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like drawn to it fully. I know it's great. I know everyone who plays it enjoys it, but I do have a lot of other things on my plate and a lot of other priorities for myself.
And
so I don't see that in the near future.
Yeah, even casually playing that game, not even just talking about the Tears of the Kingdom that just came out, but normal Breath of the Wild casually is such a time sink to see everything. Obviously,
yes.
you can rush to the end, but you're not fulfilled. You're not going to really experience what the game has to offer. So I understand, but I still highly recommend that you give it a shot whenever it suits your fancy and whenever you have the chance to pick it up.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a, like, once I clear my plate of a variety of other things, because I've watched Rig and Ellie play through Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and the world is amazing. The world is great and expansive, and there is a lot to see, a lot to do, which is almost a little bit intimidating. But like I get it. It's definitely an experience, like, for them gamers to have, but
I mean, if you think about it, even though you are caught up in Genshin, you have Mondstadt, Liyue, Sumeru, I forgot the Raiden Shogun's area, the newest expansion. There's a lot. Yep. That's also intimidating. So
that's true. I have been playing for like a little over a year though, so it's like I've already sunk a lot of time into this, and actually I'm still not fully caught up. The next part of the story dropped, and I've been neglecting that mostly because I'm lazy and I have other things that I should be doing. And especially since that just dropped during the last week that we were working on our visual novel, it's like, okay, I just need to do my dailies and get out of here before I get like sucked into this, because I have things to do.
But before they take your life over.
yes, and it's very easy to just sink like 2 or 3 hours like just doing boss fights or going through like the rest of the story of whatever's happening or what other world quests you find.
Yeah, but before you lose yourself and join that world for a little bit. Okay, so something I've been curious about for quite a long time, because the three of you are, I'm not sure if these are your real names. It doesn't really matter if they are, but where did you come up with Lyra when it came to VTubing? Lyra V, I should say.
Well, I'll let Ellie and Rachel explain theirs, but I will say that all of our names come from stars.
Oh.
Lyra actually being the constellation Lyra, as in, the harp of... I'm blanking out on his name, oh my gosh. Orpheus. The harp of Orpheus, there we are. I was going to say a different O name, I was like, that's not right. But yeah, we are all named for, or relating to stars.
Okay. What about that specific constellation really drew you in when you were picking that name?
Well, there's no spider constellation, first of all. So that was already not going to be a thing. But it's kind of a roundabout way of being related to an original character that I've had for a very long time. Whenever I talk to like Ellie, I always just refer to him as my son. But that's also in the Lyra constellation. So it's kind of like I'm just sticking together. I'm just using these themes that I love and have enjoyed for a very long time. I'd say that's a majority of it. Also, harp music. I have the musical background of the three of us. There's, a lot of little layers that it's like, oh, I could keep going on, but that's probably like the bigger points, honestly.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. And what about the last half, the V part?
I think it's just for fun.
Okay, fair enough.
I can't remember if we actually like had a specific meaning to that. I think somebody once asked on stream if that was like, oh, am I the 6th iteration? Because V, being Roman numeral for 6. Not quite. That was just to like add on the last name for the like android's sake, if you will.
I get that a lot whenever I'm making like a D&D character. Sometimes my friends will ask me like, why this name? And I'm like, man, it sounded cool.
Like with a lot of other of my original characters, like there are reasons, or I feel like I've put more reasons into like original characters, or more like, or maybe even made up like, oh, it's because of this or that, or because they're relating to this, or this name has like a sort of time period associated to it, and that relates to how they can't move on from like older thoughts, or you know what I mean. Like you just make up stuff even if it doesn't fully fit or is sounds like it's unorthodox.
Yeah, and in that moment it can be cool, and then sometimes later on you're like, why did I do that?
Why did I do that? Oh, I guess now they're just going to be referred to as this from now on because I can't think of anything else, and it's been too long now. Oops.
But it's okay. The namesake is there, and at some point it had significance, and by that extension, still does. Maybe not something that you would go back to at any point, but still, you have it, and that counts for something. I think that matters a lot. So. Some of my characters, I spent several hours Googling baby names that meant blank to find the perfect name. Other characters, I don't know. It sounded cool.
Just a little like space holder, like, oh, I'm just going to put this right here because it sounds neat and we'll think about it later. But then you're like, no, this is that character now. There's no changing it.
Okay. And in terms of your concept and your design, I take it you were the one who designed it. What was the process for you? Why did you decide to go with this design?
So actually the design was done on if you're familiar with Magma, or I think it has a different name, but it's like an open canvas which you can have multiple people join in, and you can create, works of art collaboratively, like together. So Ellie, Rig, and I took the day to open up a Magma canvas, and we sort of went through basic design like ideas. Like all three of us were designed within the same canvas because we needed to look like we're on the same squadron. We needed to look like a team, but still have things that are very specific to who we are, our personality, and kind of things we like or are comfortable with. So let's say I think I had the idea for Ellie's big jacket. So that was like, I want her to be like kind of top heavy with the big jacket on here. And then we can, go from here. She has the hero look. So we're going to, maybe put her hair up and this and that. Rig tends to like more humble designs. So as you notice, he's got like the normal hair color. The more like humble look. And such, but in order to contrast Ellie, it's like I thought he should be a little bit more bottom heavy, as it were. That's why he has the big utility belt, the larger boots, that sort of thing going. And then for mine, as since I'm based off of a spider, I needed the long limbs. I needed to be a little bit taller than everyone else. But as a fun thing, and I think I gave Rig a really big headache with this. Of course, I thought, not a lot of VTubers have the really curly hair. That might be really fun. But I'm just going to play around with that because I really like drawing texture. I like different designs and just fun little shapes and such. There's Rig. Because I can tell you in building this, between me putting together all the parts for my hair was one battle, and then Rig trying to rig it together was a whole nother battle. But I mean, it's a talking point, right?
Yeah. I mean, months in development for only your hair. Hey, that's awesome though. It's definitely like when you come to discuss it like we are now, it's a fun thing to look back on.
Oh, Rig's about to see how many pieces and controllers it has. Oh boy, he'll get back to us on that number because I know there was many layers to just building all the pieces for this.
And you also have the poofiness, at least as far as the collar goes.
Oh yeah,
because
it breaks the sleekness of everyone else, but we still have very certain design elements that carry through all of our designs. So we all have like a similar sort of jacket torso. We have something like special on the sleeves, different things on our hands, even just little things like that sort of carry over to each of the other designs.
Did the purple come from your suggestion, or was that also something that the three of you were like, this would fit cohesively in terms of a color palette for the three of us?
I think that was mainly Ellie's idea.
Mhm.
However, in real life, purple is actually my favorite color, but Ellie's idea was more so that we should have complementary colors. Something, again, a little bit different and something you don't immediately think of when you think of like a hero triad, because the first thing everyone thinks of is primaries, right? So
Yeah.
red, blue, yellow. So in order to sort of be a little bit different, go against the grain a little bit, um, Elliot said, "Hey, let's do complementaries," and as such, then we divvied that up, like so. So Ellie's got the green, I've got the purple, and Rig has the orange colors.
And there you
I
have
should
it.
mention too, Ellie is more so our colorist. So if you're like, oh yes, and the color palettes, how do you guys figure that out? That's mostly an Ellie thing.
Look towards Ellie.
Yeah. So like even like when we collaborate on like artwork together, you know, Ellie will usually have the color palettes to make something pop. I put the shape and the line work together for most of our collaborations.
Mhm. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If beauty is pain, you should go to an eye doctor. Thank you, Wolf. Oh my goodness. I mean, as painful as it may have been to rig your hair, I'm sure that obviously at the end of the day, it was fully worth it. And I talk about this with my friends a lot when I'm talking about VTubers that I feel like should have more than what they've been given by algorithm and such. And the first name that always pops in my head when I think of that is the three of you, because of the effort that you put in, both through editing shorts, your art, what you present on stream, the personalities. It all is so cohesive and beautiful. Hell, even making games as well, the visual novels. And I like hope in my heart every single time that you'll get the big pop off that you all deserve. Just to shower you with the praise and the gloating.
So sweet. Why do you call this poison points? It makes it sound like you're toxic, but you're really not. I think you need to rename this.
I mean, my motto is toxic and sweet, so you get a little bit of it. It just it stings. Listen, if I apply you with the sweetness part, the poison is much less painful.
Oh, I see. Okay, this way, guys, I'm not even gonna notice I'm poisoned.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be.
That must
It's like some of those. I don't think frogs do that at all. I don't think that they have the chemical composition to make it easier on those that they have poisoned. I think it's just, yeah, fuck you. You're dying for hurting me.
Them, I think they can numb you, so you don't quite know it. You're just like, why can't I move?
Yeah, this is true. This is true. And then the respiratory arrest is what really scares people. So,
although I guess if you had to choose a way to go out, I've heard that is the better way. Although I don't have a source on that.
I mean, I actually don't have a source on that either. I would say that it's not exactly the most painless of deaths. I've heard that it can be quite painful, depending on, if you ingested it, it's actually more painful than just being coated or like stabbed with a weapon with poison dart frog poison. So
interesting. I only find this very interesting because with spiders, we tend to have venom more so. It's not quite a poison, that you would need to ingest or, come in contact with, but something that gets, injected directly into the bloodstream. So it's like somewhat, related, but not quite the same.
Yeah, it's in the broad world of things, it's all very interesting. And bringing it back to the spider point, I always like to bring this up because in real life, I have arachnophobia. I am absolutely terrified of spiders. As small as like a little speck all the way up to the big tarantulas and camel spiders. I don't know what it is. I've never really been able to figure it out. For most bugs, it's like if they're in proximity of me, I am terrified. And I'll have you know, I don't actually ever kill spiders because, again, too afraid to even come near them. But in my workplace, there's a little spider's nest in the corner, and I have decided to live pretty much a symbiotic relationship.
If it makes you feel any bit better, the spider is, and I'm sure you've heard this too, the spider is just as scared of you.
Yes.
Because in its eyes, it sees you as a massive giant that could end its life in 3 seconds. So it will run away. It will almost 100%, if it sees you, if it, knows that you're coming close, it will run away. It wants nothing to do with you.
Yeah, we have the spider in the dish pit at work, and we also have ants in the wall, which is maintained, but the fact that they're still there hasn't changed. And I've decided to let it be. I've told nobody about it so that it can take care of the ants for us.
I appreciate the little buffet there.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Food.
And actually, ever since it moved in, I've noticed that there have been less ants that I've had to sweep up from that wall. So hey,
you see,
it works out. It works out.
I've always had a I love bugs, but I've always had a sort of distaste for house centipedes because of the amount of legs that they have. They almost look like they have hair, and that's just something about it has always been not great to me. But as of recently, I've been okay with them. I will tolerate them more, only because I'd rather see one of those than find, cockroaches or, other pest animals in the living space, since those things are they're predators. That's their whole point, is to be in the house and eat any of the other pests. So it's better to see one of those than 10, 20, 100 pests.
This is fair. Helm-chan, which by the way just followed, and I apologize, my follow notifications don't work at all for whatever reason, but she asks, do you think spiders are weirded out by our lack of legs?
Honestly, they might be, but I think they're more weirded out by, humans who have, let's say, full-on skin. I don't know if you know this, Irisu, but I actually do own several tarantulas.
Yes.
They're my babies. I love them very much. And one of the larger ones I have tried to hold on occasion, but the second she puts a foot on my skin, she goes away. She does not like it. It's like she feels it and she's like, ew, human, and goes away. It's the most subtle little attitude from this little spider. Well, it's not really little, actually, but from this spider that it just kind of have to stop and laugh. It's so goofy.
Yeah, I did notice when I was gathering information for this interview that there's a little note at the bottom of your panel that says you have 8 tarantulas.
Actually, that number has sadly changed. There's now 7 of them.
Oh.
The littlest one passed recently. I feel a little bit, hurt by it, but sometimes the little invertebrates are a little bit tricky to keep. And this is the reason why, bugs and such, they have so many eggs, because a lot of them don't make it to adulthood. So yeah, the littlest one didn't make it, but everyone else is, the other 7 of them, they are growing very fine. They're getting bigger. They're hiding all the time. The few times I do see them, they look perfectly healthy. So everything is going good with the others.
Okay. Do you have names for all of them?
I do. So the largest one I have is Hazel. She has a bit of an attitude with me, and she's about 6 to 7 inches long now. Oh, by the way, they are all different species, so I'm just going to try and roll through them pretty quickly.
Okay.
Hazel's a curly hair. Yeah, again, she has kind of an attitude, even though she shouldn't. Midnight is my beautiful metallic blue. He is a scaredy cat. He hides away in his corner all the time. Anytime I see him come out is a sight to behold, because again, he is actually blue. It is so neat. Let's see. Ruby is a... Oh gosh, I know the scientific names. I'm trying to remember the common names. I'll just go with whatever name pops in my head first. She's a Carabiner versicolor, so she's got a green head and a pink butt. She has her adult colors. She's beautiful. She's the only tolerable spider I have that she'll actually walk on my arm and not really care.
Mhm.
She's very sweet. Spinel is an Ecuador purple. Still pretty small. Also pretty scared, but will actually come out and hang out. We can see him every now and then. Topaz is an OBT, orange baboon tarantula, also known as orange bitey thing in the community. She is a bright gold. She's very fast, but she's been okay with me. She's never shown any defensive posture. She's never tried to bite me, nothing of that sort. So despite her reputation, she's actually been very good to me. I must be doing something right. Yasmin is a Socotra Island blue tarantula. She looks like she's wearing gloves. Very pretty looking. She has actually hissed at me once. She has a bit of an attitude. But she likes to roam around a lot. It's really fun to see her.
Mhm.
And finally, the last one, Camilla, possibly Camilo. I don't know. I actually don't know the sex on that one yet. Still very small, Brazilian black, maybe like half an inch big. It has a long way to go, but they're doing just fine.
Okay.
I think that was all of them.
So Buffy brought it up that I would be getting progressively closer to fainting after you expressed every single one or explained every single one. For me, it's visual and auditory. So that applies more to like traditional bugs that buzz around my head. But if I see a spider and I'm not within a safe, like a separate distance from them, I do get very close to fainting. But hearing about them, like I can appreciate spiders. Obviously, I love spider VTubers, those that take the more animalistic approach to it and like have those themes. I have zero problems with, which is weird because the things that I'm the most afraid of when it's presented in an anime VTuber setting, it's like, oh, that's hot.
Of course, because it's, we take the best features of spiders and make it presentable. It's not just the alien looking face or the multiple eyes that are seemingly always looking at you. Like, I think I can understand where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm. I like visually, I don't have problems with them, but like a lot of people think I'm weird for the not liking moths, right? Moths, I can admittedly say, are extremely beautiful. At least a lot of them are. And they are not a detriment to you unless they get into areas they're not supposed to be. They just kind of live and vibe and do their thing. But just the thought of it bumping into me is enough to set my like skin ablaze. Like I full goosebumps. I'm terrified. I'm checking over my shoulder for the little moth menace. They're evil, at least to me.
Come across other individuals who have the similar feeling, so I don't believe that's really weird. And honestly, some moths are, pretty big. So for most people who are not used to it or just don't like bugs in general, that can be kind of scary. That can be a bit intimidating.
Yeah,
I love moths. I would have them crawl all over me. I don't care.
The irony in me being a frog that eats these things, it's just funny. I like to play off of that a little bit. So
no, you could just say that they're too flaky, they're too dry. It's like no, doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, I much prefer the ants that I can eat and apply that poison coating to my skin. So
crunchy.
yeah, they come in a nice chocolate coating sometimes from the store.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
Wonderful.
Now, I am curious. You guys just finished up your visual novel. Do you have any more planned events or like big things coming up that you can share, or are you guys taking a break for right now?
I think it's kind of, I don't know if break is really the right word, because the game was finished for the Spooktember oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess this up. The Spooktember competition or challenge, that's the word I was looking for. So the game does have certain things that could be fixed, could be revisited, but for right now it is there it is. Yes, oh sorry, Spooktober visual novel jam. See, I'm calling it Spooktember because we had to do it throughout all of September, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Anyway, yeah, so there's like parts that like the game could have an update, but as of right now there's no like new project like in the or like on the horizon. At least nothing fully solid. I'm sure Ellie might have like, maybe some inklings of ideas, but as far as I know, nothing fully set in stone at this exact moment.
Okay, it's full on sort of break time where bits and pieces can be updated, but you're now no longer in crunch zone, so you can take it easy.
If anything, it's our time to like sort of catch up on other things. Like we still have a couple Pokemon related rewards to finish up. And then of course I have Inktober, so I'll be doing my little ink drawings every day. Actually, the fun little trivia about that, the first two that I've done, and actually the third one it probably won't be updated till tomorrow. But anyway, these first three are vague references to like what we're planning to play within this month-ish.
Okay.
It's real vague because I know like Ellie said that she's gonna play like an assortment of things, so I tried to make it like, oh, you're like storytelling of some sort, and so on and so forth. So that'll be like the first couple drawings, and then after that, I know last year I tried to do this event, and as it happens for most people who try a monthly challenge, you can go on for it for so long, but then of course something happens, you fall behind, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm not completing this challenge. So that's what happened last year, and I had a post online saying, oh, if you want me to draw you, leave your PNG here, of sorts. So I may go back and revisit that to draw some of our VTuber buddies, just for the sake of doing the challenge, really.
Okay. So I'm excited to see that when it comes back around, if that's what you decide to do, of course. But I'm also excited to see your completed Inktober stuff. I've had friends who have done it in the past, and they usually stop about halfway through because it's kind of pressure to them for whatever reason. As someone who is not an artist, I don't partake in that, but I have always thought of it as like, if you can't make a day, then don't worry about it. Like, you're still making art, you're having a good time, and that's all it's meant to be. So
that's true. The thing is with a lot of us that do these challenges, like, we want to try and do the one a day, and if we miss one day, then it's like, oh, I'm gonna try and do 2 the following day then.
Yep.
And then you forget that day, and you're like, I guess I should try and do 3 the next day.
And it compounds, and it gets worse.
That's where that pressure comes from. And then you're like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Then at that point, just whenever you have the chance, like, oh, I that was like 5 days ago, I'm gonna do it today anyways. Whatever. I'm gonna get it done because I want to, and I have the time. So.
That being said, I have completed Inktober once. Oh, well, no, when I say complete Inktober, I've never actually done the prompts because I'm far too lazy to find whatever the thing is, or I just don't feel like doing the prompts. So when I say I complete Inktober, I do my 1 drawing a day. And for that year, that has to be one of my most productive years. And I try and think back to that. Like, I need to discipline myself to actually do that, because when you see every single day done and you just compile that all together, it looks really neat.
Out of curiosity, I know that the 3 of you were all working on your designs together, but if you weren't the support operator that we see before us today, do you think you would have gone with any other designs?
Well, I'm kind of basic, so I would have done a fantasy-based design. That's like just the first thing I'm coming to mind. Like, it would have probably been a fantasy-based thing. I don't know exactly, what else besides just that. Especially since there's already like a lot of fantasy like VTubers out there. So it's one of those like, oh, I would have just been another face in the crowd type of thing. But this particular design pretty much encapsulates every other aspect I would have potentially chosen anyway. I think that's part of the reason why Ellie assigned me as purple, just because, purple is my color. It's something that I already would have associated with no matter what. So it's like, this is already basically me.
Okay. And that's totally fine. You know, I asked that question mostly out of curiosity because some people, it's not that they have reservations about their current design. It's just like thinking about it every so often. Would I be something else? And yeah.
No, but the sci-fi sort of background is for me, like it forces me to think a little bit differently. And as a creative, we need that a little bit more often, since as artists we tend to fall into like the same sort of little cookie mold that we build for ourselves. And that's what a lot of people fall into, and why some people are like, oh, I can't find my style, oh, I just can't learn perspective, because they're so used to just following their own little routine and not breaking out of that to try something different, to think a little bit differently. Just, stop drawing in pencil, just draw in pen, see what happens. Don't rely on the eraser, just make those mistakes and find something new.
Okay. And one of my final questions that I like to ask in terms of my icebreaker category is, what does it mean for you to come home and get on your computer and you start streaming or you're in Discord? What does it mean for you to be Lyra?
I can't really necessarily. I'm not sure if there's anything that's truly different, other than I can take off my filter a little bit. Because let's say when we're doing collaborations, Ellie has designed our lounge as if like we're just playing games and people can come and join us. It's not a VTubing is already a form of like theater to some people. For us, it's, I think, a little bit more on the casual side, let's say. Because I know I don't particularly feel as if I'm putting on a persona all the time. If anything, it's making sure I keep our lore straight, making sure I'm using correct terms, as it were. But as far as IRL me and Lyra me is a little bit more unfiltered and more, like you go into, let's say you're working customer service and you're like, oh, hello, what can we get for you today? You have your little customer service voice, you have your set of terms, you have your set of vocabulary that you use between the customers and your coworkers. Well, that all turns off. That doesn't exist.
You have that, but it's cool.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's one way to put it.
It's like if you were a cashier, but now everyone's like, you're a space mercenary.
Yes, it's better me.
Yeah, I think about that a lot, and that's why I asked that question, because for me, when I'm at work, especially being trans, I'm like undercover, I'm very subdued. I do my thing, but when I get to be on the computer and I get to enter goofball mode, or when I'm streaming and I get to enter this mode where I'm a little bit more serious and the sensual voice, it opens up a part of me that I enjoy. But yeah, everyone has their own reasons for why they do this, and that question just opens the proverbial floodgates towards that reason. So
see, I feel like that becoming another person is I feel that more so as you see me log into Final Fantasy 14 every other day. It's like I can just get isekai'd into my little fantasy world and do my little fantasy things as a cute, as my cute little character.
It's a good breakaway for some people. It's an elevation from their current life, and that's what they enjoy. For others, it's the intense hobby for them that they the hobbity, the new term, the VTuber term.
Yes.
And for some people, the fact that they are basically a VTuber just in general, because it has been a way to extend their personality and what they want to be. more than just the face behind the camera or the lack thereof of a face at all. They get to express themselves in the cool way, as we put it.
Suppose. Because a little bit of trivia. I had face cam once upon a time on a completely different channel. And it definitely feels different. It still feels like, oh, I need to like reserve myself. I can't just like do whatever. But as a VTuber, all that just is different. You know, you're not showing your face. You can just become something entirely different. I can say, yes, I have the most annoying purple wiry curly hair. I can just whip my head back and forth. I can, you know, say, well, I can't just say whatever, I suppose, because I wouldn't do that anyway. But I feel as if it can act a little bit different than I would otherwise.
Yeah, and it's weird because when you're using your face rig, pretty much the movements that you make are kind of not actually natural because you're thinking about how they look on the model.
Yes.
See, sometimes we make goofy faces.
Or you have to exaggerate like a smile for the model to capture, or you have to move in a very certain way so you know that, yes, this is how this is going to move.
Yeah, and it's fun. You get to be goofy and loosen up those the cheek muscles. Just an excuse to smile more. All right, moving on to the lore segment where just so because in the past I've like had people wonder if this is supposed to be separate from the icebreaker questions. So we are in the lore segment. Actually, wait, no, never mind. I just realized that this first question is not lore related. I know you're not a big fan of puns. I'm not a big fan of puns either. I'm curious, where does your dislike of puns stem from?
Honestly, it started as a bit, and now it's I just keep at it. Every time I hear something silly, it's like, oh man. Also, I have to talk to Rig on a more often basis. So Rig cannot physically say anything without having it be a pun of some sort, and you just this guy.
Okay.
So what started as a silly little bit, shut up, Buffy. What started as a bit just ended up being like, these people. Oh, why do I have to keep hearing this?
Hey, you gotta.
I hope you know that.
You gotta keep up appearances in some way, shape, or form.
But like even then, like it started as appearances, but even now it's like I just feel this like inner groan as I know the pun is coming. Like, oh no, don't say the thing, and then they say the thing, and it's just
Yeah, and sometimes you catch yourself like instigating it somehow.
Guess I don't know how these things work, but
it's definitely a science that should be looked into. I'm curious if there's a because they have psychological terms for a lot of the strangest things, like the phenomenon of feeling like your phone's vibrating, but it's not.
Oh yeah,
because we're so
vibrations.
Yeah, we're so expectant of like a text message or a notification. So I wonder if that's the case for puns.
There has to be, or something of that sort.
Because mine stems from growing up with a dad who used puns all the time, would not stop, and it was like, come on, I'm trying to hold a conversation with you. Like, let me talk with you normally.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's part of it, because sometimes, you're in the middle of something serious or something you just want to continue on, and then here comes Mr. Pun Master, and you're like, no, stop.
Oh, Buffy, how dare you? I'm the reason you keep continuing your pun antics.
You're training them. Be careful.
I gotta bring back the reverse psychology and start using more puns, and then they'll die down just a little bit. Okay, now on to the lore questions.
Okay.
So we know that you are an android of sorts. A created being. Do you know who created you?
I do. So That's not necessarily a spoiler. In the
Mhm.
lore, my creator was a scientist of sorts, and essentially put her own soul within me. So we are the same person, but different bodies in a strange way. If you like ever played Undertale, let's say this is like a Metaton situation where she was, let's say, terminal and decided, let's start up the Arachnid Initiative to create these, stronger bodies that can maybe do other things that the human body cannot, but we implement our own soul. So it's an extension or a sort of just a whole new start for us.
Okay. All right. And so, like, is it you, or is it you and her, or is it more specifically just her?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, no, okay. Let me go a little bit into that. It is her soul which has become me. So yes, it would have been the same person as the scientist, but as you take on a new form, a new body, it's like, well, we're going to take this time to refresh ourselves and take it as like a whole clean slate into life, which therefore you create or meld into a new-ish personality.
Okay. I can understand that.
Mhm.
I don't know how familiar you are with Dragon Ball, but it reminds me of what Piccolo did. Fuck me if I remember any of the character names, but he did reform with the person that he broke off from and became new but not a new person.
See, okay.
So yeah, Piccolo and Kami. There we go. That's
Okay.
the name. Because originally Kami was evil, and Piccolo broke off from Kami because Piccolo was the evil one. And then they refused together after Piccolo developed his sense of self, and they became a stronger form of each other, which is
I
cool.
see.
If you don't like Dragon Ball because of its weird antics, that's actually a really cool antic at the bare minimum. So
No, every other thing I hear from Dragon Ball, like, that sounds neat, but I never did watch or give it the time, unfortunately, because I didn't like the art style. And I know that sounds shallow. I know it's like, oh, but what do you mean? I just didn't like the art style. That's, you have to be, you have to find something to, be drawn to again to start watching something. So that's unfortunately what happened with me.
I was originally like that, and when I watched it with a group of people, it like that wasn't an issue for me as much. But the one that I feel that the most with is One Piece. Like, even if I could enjoy One Piece's story, which I'm kind of finicky on, the art style of the show just kind of turns me off from even finishing an episode. So,
I just started well, no. I started reading One Piece years ago and got like, I don't remember, like it's in like the 200s ish.
mhm.
Now, because of the live action, I decided I'm going to pick it up again, see how far I get. And now I'm at 616 whatever. I'm enjoying that. It's, to me, that's different enough. And but yeah, you know what, I completely understand. Like I just said, that I don't care much for the Dragon Ball art style. I will respect the illustrator Akira Toriyama for everything he does.
Mhm.
There's a reason that he's done so much and has all these prolific titles. Great. I don't like his art style. That's just my own opinion.
Yeah.
And I know, that others like yourself, you can say the same thing about Eiichiro Oda. Like, yeah, sure, he has this, long-standing title, but it's not going to change the fact that you don't like his art style.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's valid. I think that's valid. He does have a pretty intense art style. Like, I enjoy it. I love his line work. I love his silly designs. I like how he's just going off the rails. I think it's fun.
Mhm.
But again, completely opinion-based. Both are valid.
There is one older anime. I can't remember the name of it. It's a rom-com made by the same studio, or at least the same person who made One Piece. I'm blanking on the name. I might have to look this up, but it was the same thing for me, because the content of that show, very funny, especially for the time frame, because sometimes it doesn't really translate very well to the modern day. It was funny, it was cute, it was good, but the art style just like I couldn't get behind it, and so I didn't finish. Well, I finished the first episode, but I didn't continue watching after that point.
Oh, especially if it's an older rom-com, like let's say early 90s, that does not age well. Like you would have had to find it during its peak or have an incredibly open mind
Mm-hmm.
to accept that things were different. Or both, because even now, like there's, certain like for movies even, there are certain rom-coms that you just kind of, you think about or you think back to and you're just, oh God, that's cringe. Oh God, we thought that was funny. Wow, oh geez, that did not age well. And they're like maybe, oh dear, like 20 years old by now or whatever.
Yeah. There's still some that I think, well, maybe not today. Maybe when I was younger, I had more rose-tinted glasses, but Ouran High School Host Club being one of that like bridge between old and new. I still think that one holds up. It's goofy, it's silly, it has the romantic parts that are good.
Believe that was also intended to be more of a satire, so it is making fun of all of those tropes that were, accepted back then.
Yeah, and you know how much we love the satire in this house, so.
Oh, indeed.
There's mostly one episode that doesn't age well in Ouran. A lot of the things like from that time period that a lot of people don't think about is like even 5 years is a long time. So much changes during that period.
Oh, yes.
World ideologies and all that. Some things, unfortunately, an episode does not age well because it's sexist or like it has racist undertones, and it's just like really weird. So you like skip over it if the rest of it's okay. But thankfully, we don't see a lot of that in today's modern stuff. I could be wrong. Maybe there are some pieces out there, but.
You also always have to like remember like what culture it came from, because some cultures are a little bit more progressive, others are not. I know one big one that always comes up with, let's say, the Genshin fandom is that, oh, characters aren't dark enough. Well, as much as we would love to see our desert characters, have some like melanin, it's the developers wouldn't be able to get away with that for a variety of marketing reasons due to where it's made. If you catch what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. I cannot find this anime. It's Silver would know because he showed it to me. But I'll put it down for now, and we'll get back to that later.
I feel like I should know what you're talking about too, but I'm like,
the premise of it is it's this really short guy who is in love with this really tall, skinny girl. And it's the One Piece style, so they have their proportions are pretty exaggerated, and that's it. That's all I remember about that first episode. I think she's a redhead. I'm not sure.
Ellie might know.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're making new ground. Buffy. That's my favorite.
Short guy meets a queen.
Yeah, but the thing is that at the start they don't like each other very much, and that's where Lovecom. There we go. They don't like each other at the start. They're actually very dynamically opposed to each other, but over time they start to like each other a little bit more. Thank you, Buffy, for coming in clutch. That was the name we needed. Popeye the Sailor. Or at the very least, if I looked at it and I was wrong, maybe it is not the same creator, but Lyra is, like, I could tell by that type, that she was looking
like,
it up right away.
It looks similar. I don't think it's the same artist, but I can see how you would have maybe thought that. Yeah, I don't know this series.
Without researching it, I probably only saw the similarities in art styles, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, most likely.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna take the train that we derailed and put it back on track. So as a support operator, I froze. As a support operator for Nova Swarm, what functions do you operate with? What do you do for your team?
I'm the backlines. I am the let's say we're out on like a mission to sort of search and destroy. I would be the map out the area, set out the strat, be like, okay, well, frontline this way, engineer out this way, let's say. The last line of defense, should anything get past our front line, I would be the one to destroy with, let's say, webbing of sorts. But yeah, mostly the back lines, the support line, the comms, even like what we do in our MMOs. It's more or less the same. We have, Rig taking on the head damage, Ellie actually, hitting the crit points, and then I'm in back shouting out strats or providing that backline support for the team.
Okay. Ellie also says, I was about to say Nova Swarm also just says, you are also the medic.
Yes. As a support, I tend to be our healer main.
Is that by choice or by obligation?
Kind of both.
Okay.
It's not even just one game or another. It's just like now always. If we have a sort of team game where you have your damage dealers, your tank characters, or your support, I will pick up a support character out of experience of playing support, out of being able to just learn and watch how the battle flows. Shout out strats if we need, that sort of thing. There was a time that we were playing Overwatch pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch 1, of course. We sort of played 2 a little bit here and there, but Blizzard and the way that the game has been going, we just haven't really touched it. And anyway, that's kind of where we sort of fell into our roles best, is just doing these sort of action games.
Mm-hmm.
With these roles.
Yeah, that's a good way to also bring it to the channel on a lore perspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, super cool. And how do you feel? Because you bring a certain aspect to the team that is very important. How do you feel that you fit in? Do you rely on your squad mates as much as they rely on you?
I have a god complex. No, I'm kidding.
It's all you, baby.
Yeah. No. Everything we do is a team effort. So, Rig has perfected his role in getting the attention or collecting the enemy into one spot. Ellie is, hitting them with all the crits. And if the enemy dies, then they don't need the support. But until then, I support them until the enemy is eliminated. So it's all one big team effort in which I trust them to do their roles perfectly. They trust me to keep them alive. And again, it'll show in like some of the collaborative gameplay that we do. The 3 of us, we work as a team entirely. Mm-hmm. Everything is eliminated if Ellie's at the front. Everything, is collected all nice and neat and orderly when Rig is at the helm. And nobody dies if I am supporting them. So,
now, speaking of enemies, what are the 3 of you tasked with hunting down?
I think we've written enough lore that it's okay for me to be, or to, I guess, talk about that here. The Nova Swarm, because there's actually several different sections of the Nova Swarm. But in ours, we are tasked with eliminating the Mycor infestation that is plaguing our universe, which are these sort of alien fungus that spreads its spores to other planets to essentially drain them of whatever energy, life force they have before they explode and release their spores to other sections of the universe, as it were.
Okay. Hongo, the mushroom of our VTuber friend group, heard spore. But these are bad
I trust
ones.
you are a good mushroom.
Yeah, they're bad mushrooms. And what were the names of these creatures?
So we refer to them as mycors, and they have there's 3 different categories of them. We have our mycor type R, type oh my gosh, I'm already gonna mess this up. Type N, I believe, and I want to say our other one was type A. But it's easier to remember them by colors. We have red, white, and black. In which red tends to be the more violent of them, in which yep, ran. Okay. It took me a second. I'm like, wait, I remember the colors better, but I think I also remember yeah, I remember the letters there. Anyway, this red one is the most dangerous of them, in which it'll sort of become a parasitic life form for or use the whatever life forms it finds as its hosts, as a parasite would, essentially turning them all into like a sort of hive mind, almost drone like sort of force, in which they can also turn into like these amalgamations to spread even further and such. So those are the ones in which we call in the Nova Swarm to come in and eliminate.
Okay.
Because that's no fun. Also, we don't want we would like planets to stay as one.
Instead of being completely taken over by fungus and destroyed.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
So, do these mycors have a particular weakness amongst themselves? Are they separately weak to something? Is anything effective against them?
They have different sort of strategies that we would use against them, but as a broad term, being fungi, they have a aversion to light, let's say. Vector knows now.
Yeah, flashlights.
Yeah. Not all light, of course. You can't just like shine your little cell phone light at them and be like, "Be gone, my core." That doesn't really work very well. Fire also tends to be pretty effective as well, depending the type. But yeah, that would be fire, light, hard light of sorts. But that's part of what we are researching to find, more effective ways of battling these.
When you said cell phone flashlight, I don't know what came to my mind, but I think of the terminal montage version of Kirby, where he's a devout Christian who kills all of the boss monsters with the power of God and Jesus Christ.
Not seen this. Oh my goodness! What?
I definitely recommend watching some of them. They're more on like that the Zoomer humor, like loud type of comedy. But
okay.
If I can enjoy them, and I'm typically despite my age, I'm typically not a big fan of that stuff. It's really funny to see Kirby holding up the cross and smiting his enemies with the prayer.
Why not just devour God and become the next deity? Is that not something Kirby can do?
Maybe, I don't know. There's a little lore video about it that I haven't seen yet that explains some of why, at least in the iteration that Terminal Montage, Kirby can, but maybe he respects God like they're homies. Okay, so you mentioned that you are part of, just one group. Because I take it that the three of you aren't necessarily responsible for all functions and safety of the entire galaxy.
No. We have other divisions for that. Let's say we have should we find an infected planet, we send in the Luna Swarm to collect the rescuers, sort of create a little safe haven to get people out of there, or any other life forms that might be in immediate danger. There is sort of one bit of defense. You have the Nova Swarm that goes in to eliminate the threat, and then the Terra Swarm that would go in to rebuild. If the planet is salvageable, they go in and reconstruct whatever was lost. to the fungal infestation.
Okay. All right. So, a large organization. Do you work outside of like a certain parameter, certain distance as far as galaxy goes, or is every planet infected? Fair game.
I would say, as of right now, every planet that is infected would be fair, as it's a little bit difficult to find them at this exact moment. But we are indeed doing our best to, find and contain, as it were.
Okay. All right. And are any of you familiar with where the mycores originate from? Like, have you found a home world? Did they evolve from a species?
Not quite, at least not that we've found out yet, or not that we've been privy to anyway. We're just fighters that go in to destroy. That's not entirely within our realm of knowledge all the time. But who knows? Maybe we'll get to know that at some point.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes, I do. I am quite curious as to where this story will evolve into. The extensive lore network, as it were. All right. And to take a step away from the lore for a moment, I have this little section, a brand new segment to the channel called Hypothetical Theoretical. I didn't play.
Boy.
Hold on, let me play the graphic. Hypothetical Theoretical. It's a very simple graphic. You see, it's
nice.
It's basically an evolved form of how I act when I am in a private VC. I like to bring up random questions that don't really make sense, and I decided that I might as well make a segment out of it for the show.
Okay, let's hit me with your best shot.
I have actually specifically picked one that you might not be able to find in the Discord channel that I have it for. I might actually have it there. Who knows? The question is it gay to sleep with a shirt on, but nothing else below the waist?
I think I would understand the parameters of what would make it gay in the first place. Because maybe some people have different sensations in which their lower half doesn't matter for that, since you do have a blanket. Assumedly, you have a blanket covering you. Okay, that's what I'm understanding. So you are still covered, yet maybe you just don't like your chest being out in the open. Maybe the shirt is an extra blanket that it gives you a sense of security. So sleeping Pooh Bear style.
We'll call it the Pooh Bear approach.
And this is also assuming that you are in a bed alone. You don't have a bedmate or partner of any sort. Like, what specifically would just going pantsless, how would that be gay in any way?
I've stolen this question from somebody else, and I have no good answer for you, other than that is the parameters on their own. You just have a shirt on and nothing else.
Maybe people like the breeze down there. Maybe it's their time to be like, you know what? Forget the underpants. We're gonna keep it cool down there. Maybe that's how they vibe.
But do it be gay to do that?
I wouldn't think so, because that doesn't denote what your sexuality is specifically, unless for some reason it does. But to my understanding, and my understanding of like sexuality and such is very, very much zero. To me, it just sounds like someone who might be a little bit eccentric, or someone who just likes a little breeze down there, or just doesn't want the constrictions of underpants.
Buffy saying, so basically it's gay if there's anyone else. Kind of like a tree falling in the forest is only gay if there's someone that can hear it.
Yes, you know what? I agree with Buffy here. That's true. If a tree falls in the forest, yet no one is there to hear it, did it really fall? Is there anybody else in this bed, in this hypothetical bed? Because that would be the only thing I think that would notate the action of sleeping with only a shirt and nothing else. Gay.
And we're also going to assume that the answer is yes, regardless of the gender of person who witnesses you.
Does it? Oh, see, this will actually short circuit me worse than the cube rule. Like, would it though? Like, if the person in this bed, let's say, is female, and they have a male partner, let's say, are they still, would it still be considered gay? I'm very confused by this. Like,
oh my goodness.
in my own algorithm, that reads as not gay.
Okay.
Yet, if it is a female with another female and the one sleeps, without the pants,
then it is
sure.
It is lesbian. It's gay.
Yes. Thank you, Ellie. Just error. Like, wait, no, because this word in my mind means this. Therefore, if it is not within these parameters, then it is not.
Okay, so with a technicality involved, you would say under like a quote-unquote normal circumstance, no, it is not gay.
Yes, a normal circumstance being you are in a bed alone.
Alone.
There is no other partner in bed with you.
Okay, I will be adding this to your permanent record. The answer will be with you for the rest of your days, so please don't ever forget that.
Okay.
And with that, I think this is a great time to take a really quick break. My phone specifically needs a break because it's probably at 1% and about to die, so I need to salvage that little fella. During that time, while we grab some water, you should do that too, chat. You should all get some water. Make sure that if you have any questions for Lyra, you gather them all together, and when we get back, we will ask. And, well, Lyra will be forced to answer. No choices, so.
I'm already here, y'all.
We will see you in just a moment. All right, everybody. We are back. I hope everyone was able to grab a water, walk around, use the restroom, and think of your questions, which I can already see quite a few down here in chat.
Fun questions there.
Are you ready, Lyra, for the interrogation to start?
Sure.
All right. Ellie from Nova Swarm, what a shocker, asks, is there any AU concept that you'd like to explore further as an art project between the three of you?
Oh dear. Certain AU. Oh man. I feel like I just always default to like a fantasy AU, but like we've actually sort of done that via like sort of art trade projects with each other. We did like for everyone's birthday, like I forget which one of us started it, but like we already made Rig into like this knight wielding a great sword. I've drawn Ellie with her like dual blades in like a princely outfit, and I know she's drawn me as like a mage, which is really fun. I just really enjoy that sort of thing like a lot. But if we were to try something like completely new, I know we were already we actually already have one like sort of on our plate that is I believe the Space Pirate AU. Which is a
Okay.
thing, which I know we were like gonna we just have to find time to, you know, plan that out. So that already is like super fun to me. But oh gosh, oh, and then we also have Ellie. We already have AUs. We have another art. I was just reminded of this. We have another little art project we need to get on, which is us as Pokemon gym leaders.
Oh, yes, that would be adorable.
Those are already like, oh, those are already my favorite AUs. Oh man,
I know. Anything else though?
there are other AUs. Yeah, no, those are probably some of my favorite ones. I don't know. I guess like full fantasy outfit. That's no, that like already writes itself. No, I guess just going on to those projects, I suppose. Now that we actually have time, because you know, as we all know, we didn't have the time for a little bit there, but now that we'll be able to. I know anything else though. Oh dear. Gosh, no, none that like immediately come to mind.
Okay. I was gonna suggest the like, earlier when you were talking about like what you would be able to do for October, the fantasy AU would be really cool, as like a Halloween costume of sorts.
We do have Halloween costumes.
Yes,
which,
I do remember.
Yeah, which actually we should be able to, or anyone else who comes by our channel, you might be seeing them soon-ish, because I know I have a game to finish, and as soon as I'm done with that, I'll be playing something new, and I'm gonna swap like to my costume for the rest of the month once that starts.
Awesome! I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited. I like it's one of those things that it's like I had fun like designing them, and like, you know, putting up all the assets together, and it's I actually forget that we have them until the season comes around. It's like, hey, yeah, that's right, we have costumes. We should use them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Okay. PK wants to know what your favorite fruit is.
Ooh, oh my gosh, I love fruit. Okay, my absolute favorite thing as like, you know, the fancy treat that I think I love to death are probably blackberries.
Okay.
But as like a snack that I will realistically have even on stream are grapes.
Oh yes, especially when you get the very juicy, flavorful ones that you like. Oh wow, I can't just have 1 or 2 or 10. I gotta have this whole thing.
Yeah, my favorite pastime snack is some grapes with like cheese slices. It's so good, so perfect. You don't need anything else. Change from lychee. So, okay, listen, I love lychee like a lot, but I think I like, you know, when it's juiced or like put in something, I wouldn't immediately like grab a raw lychee fruit and just, you know, peel it out and, or, you know, try and pop it out, whatever, and just eat it as is. That's something I think I like to have as like put in something.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think I've ever had it in its raw base form. So, come to think of it, I don't actually think I know what it looks like in its raw base form. In general. Hold on, I'm
Got like
looking
a
this up.
sort of reddish coating, but then like you pop it out and they look like white eyeballs.
Oh, yeah.
They
They're
have a
all,
similar, like almost grape-like. You know, if you ever peeled a grape,
oh,
that's
wait.
kind of what it is.
Oh no,
Yeah.
my phone. My phone is gone.
No phone.
No, I'm frozen in time. No one sees this. Hold on, we're going to work on some emergency measures to fix my face. In the meantime, Buffy wants to know. Buffy actually has a few questions here. What your favorite weapon in general is, and this can include the fantasy and sci-fi, either or.
A staff, 100%, like a magic staff. Just
A magic
something
staff?
to conduct. Yep, something to conduct magic with. Sort of breaking immersion a little bit. I did actually go to a Renaissance fair recently.
Mhm.
First time ever. I basically found myself a new home out there. Absolutely wonderful, charming, everything. I actually spent the money to get like a wooden staff, a homemade wooden staff that's like, it has like a black, like shimmery lacquer to it, and it's like spiral. It's super neat. But I spent like a solid like 30 minutes, just searching for the right one. You know, treating it like a wand shop. Like, oh no, the wand must choose me. I have to find the right one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so 100% favorite weapon is like a mage staff.
And here I am. Oh wait, no. Why am I not bouncing? What the fuck? What? Okay, well, I'll fix that in just a second. Would you say you're also a fan of the like sci-fi settings that includes a magic staff as like a souped up super futuristic staff that can also cast magic?
The concept of it sounds like something I would definitely like, you know, gravitate towards, but I can't think of like any immediate examples of such. But I mean, it sounds like something up my alley, 100%.
Okay. I actually don't have a specific example. It just like I know I've seen it in media, so it's definitely a point of like, this would be cool to have.
Or even like just some type of a conductor. Let's say like if those who use like, you know, lightning rods to command lightning, let's say. Like I would count something like that.
Okay. Also, yeah, for what Buffy's saying, Fujitech is breaking, just in general. So yeah, you get to look at me frozen in space time, but that's
You get
okay.
a great pose on.
Yeah. Lyra just froze me as part of her magic, so I'm
You know,
caught.
there's just been webs been gathered right there in your seat, so now we're both stuck.
You're poisoned and paralyzed. I'm just tied up so tightly I can't move.
Indeed.
Buffy also wants to know, if you had to pick a product from the 80s or 90s to make Nova Swarm themed merch of, what would it be? And the examples they give are Furbies, trading cards, Tamagotchi, etc.
Okay, well, the obvious one there would be, and I know Ellie would probably agree with having Tamagotchis.
Yes.
In which, you know, you could feed us, pet us, you know, give us things or whatever. Like, yeah, that sounds cute. But just because it's so stupid, I would almost like to see like Crazy Bone type things. Do you know what I'm talking about? The little like
Bone.
resin figures that you would flick towards your opponent.
Oh, I need to see this. Hold on. Crazy Bone toys. Wait a minute. Oh, I know these things. Yes.
I just dated myself with that one, but yeah. Yeah, just because it's so silly and so dumb. It's like, what would that even be? Maybe it would just be like our call signs or like, you know, little symbols that represent the Nova Swarm.
It
But
could
sometimes
be like
the resin figures were they had like, you know, sparkly effects, they had fun colors, you know, they were just silly little things.
You could have them be like little chibi versions of yourselves or just your heads.
Yeah.
That would be pretty funny. We'll finish off Buffy's questions. They have 2 more. If you were to go silly mode, would you be a clown, jester, or mime?
Damn. Okay, I like the aesthetics of all. I think I'm learning that I actually really like mime aesthetics, but between those, I think I would most likely be jester. It has a lot more leeway. It has a little bit more, like, I can be a fancy sort of looking jester.
Mhm.
I think it would just fit my aesthetic and personality a lot more.
Okay, and you know, they got that, they have the benefit of having bard-like traits, so, you know, you're
Exactly.
open to any form, like anything that you would roll a d20 for, boom, easy peasy. Performance, intimidation, seducing the dragon, etc.
Using the dragon, yeah, of course. Staple of any bard.
Oh yes, 100%. That's a skill that is exclusive to bards, so... And finally, Buffy's last question is, what's your favorite vegetable?
I was about to speak before. Oh, wait, no, hang on. That's not a vegetable. Darn. Okay, the first thing that came to mind was cucumber. But then I thought, wait, that's a very sus answer. I would have to back that up. And then as my thought process continued, I thought, wait, that's not even a vegetable because they have seeds. Technically, cucumber is closer to like a gourd or a fruit. So that doesn't even apply. Favorite vegetable. Oh, geez.
Cucumber,
okay.
technically a melon.
There goes Rig with the actually. Oh my gosh. Favorite vegetable. I think I would just go the basic route and just say I like lettuce best because lettuce is like the bread to a salad, right? You need good solid lettuce to have a a lush salad. So even though it's like, oh well, that's like whatever, it's just leaves, or if you don't have fresh enough like romaine lettuce, then your salad is ruined. And mind you, I love salad. Okay.
Okay. So in the off chance that I was ever to visit any of you, I would need to bring you the most perfect salad as a tribute.
Me specifically.
Yes.
The other two probably wouldn't have such high standards for salad, or would prefer that you just don't bring salad.
You know, we were watching a movie the other day, the Ghibli movie The Wind Rises. And there's a part of the movie that's kind of strange because there's this fella who just straight up sits at a fancy restaurant and he just starts chowing down on what I can only assume is plain arugula. And it made me think to myself, yeah, actually, that's the one lettuce or like leafy green that I see myself straight up just chowing down on with no oil, vinegar, dressing. It's just
has a flavor. Like you use that to, beef up your salad.
Yeah, it's a very intense leafy green and very filling, very good for you. Because unfortunately, romaine is kind of a nothing food. You have to enhance it with other things around it. So it's cool. It's cool. I love food talk. I could probably get into a discussion about it for way too long.
Well, there's a reason that we at the Nova Swarm have a specific tag that's like bring snacks, or it's the unofficial rule that if you come to one of our streams, you should probably have a snack with you because there's a very high chance we will talk about food.
and the cube rule with sandwiches.
No, not if it's my stream.
Okay, fair enough. It's strictly banned on when you're in control. Oh my gosh. I get to be a part of that as well because my partner Pinch is very obsessive over like planning to refute Ellie at any point that they can in regards to the sandwiches with the cube rule.
Oh dear.
It's both funny and like I always say as I always say, I don't know. I don't make the rules. It's just the way it is.
some of the other humans I usually work with, I think we were talking about sandwiches one day, and I even had to stop myself because I got used to the whole cube rule dispute. I was like, wait, no, this isn't my place. I don't want to even bring this up. We're not going to bring this up here. This is my place of refuge from the cube rule.
Oh my god, Silver, thank you so much for
goodness.
the 5 subs. I appreciate it. In honorary in honor of the cube rule itself. Wolf is asking what the cube rule is. I think I will actually leave that for when we interview Ellie from Nova Swarm instead.
The too long didn't read is it's how sandwiches are categorized.
Yes.
But that's all I care to say about it.
Yes, it's what determines if a sandwich is a sandwich or if it's more like a pie or whatever else they have in that huge long PowerPoint. Sorry, I won't torment you with that on the back burner. Thank you and congratulations to Lady, Pinch, Indigo, Post, and Soma for getting those subs. And again, thank you, Silver, for donating. I do appreciate it. At 174 now. Previously at 169. Very proud of that title. Okay. Ellie asks, what is your favorite type of noodle dish?
Right now, my favorite is the Korean glass noodles, japchae.
Okay.
I think it's technically sweet potato noodles. I'm not 100% sure on that, but anyway, very sweet, very nice. I don't know, served warm with like vegetables. It's just absolutely tasty. That's been like one of my favorite things lately. Like I will, on days that I like to treat myself, I will get what I like to refer to as Korean feast. All that means is a big thing of Korean fried chicken and a dish of japchae. That's all. It's essentially hashtag a girl dinner or boy dinner, whatever, what have you.
Oh God, please. You have no context for it, but we just had a huge debate on girl boy dinner and
Oh, no.
and they dinner last night. It was wild. There was a war happening.
Oh no, okay. Well, I don't want this to become the next cube rule thing. But that is what I consider like just a treat yourself day.
Okay, that's fair. Finch's they dinner is not a they dinner, it's a sin.
Oh no. I'm like mildly curious, but I know that's gonna open up the floodgates.
I'll give you the TLDR. So their version of the they dinner is black olives and chocolate milk. And that's it.
I'm sorry, that is a sin. Oh my goodness. I have to agree with Buffy on this one. That is absolutely a sin. That nothing? Not even like black olives on like pizza or something?
No, it's black olives right out of the can. And then chocolate milk. Not together, mind you. It's like I just finished my black olives. Now I'm going to move on to my chocolate milk.
Here's my relationship with olives in general. Whenever there are functions in my area or like little events, and some of the other people around like to put out olives like as a little appetizer thing, you know, as you would like cheese and crackers. I always volunteer to put out the olives because I despise olives. Because if I'm the one putting out the olives, none of them will go missing and everything will be put out. You know, it's kind of like, I guess the bartender who like doesn't drink or doesn't want to, like, you know that they'll never drink the product.
Yep.
It's the same exact thing to that. It's like, I absolutely despise olives, like with a passion.
Mm-hmm. I used to have a complicated relationship with them, but it was because my family would only feed me black olives. And black olives are one of the strongest that you can give somebody. But it wasn't until I worked in a Mediterranean place when I got to try like Cherignolas and Castelvetranos that I was like, yeah, these are really good actually. Like they...
Yeah, not all olives are bad.
Yeah. The green olives for sure are the ones that are I can both tolerate and snack on, and with HRT they became an addiction.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because they're salty. They're just
Oh, got
yeah,
it.
they're salty and somewhat like I don't want to say they make your mouth pucker like pickles do, like dill pickles, but they got that like sort of close to that taste.
Okay. Okay. I think I can understand.
Okay, October Stereo wants to know, what is your favorite RPG of all time?
That's so hard. Okay, well, the one I've replayed the most. Well, no, actually, there's like 3 that I've replayed many times. One of which being Final Fantasy IX, which I just replayed actually on the Nova Swarm channel, alongside Ellie, because Ellie had never seen the game. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to stream this, and you will come and be my my little partner in crime here. So that is probably like one of my absolute favorites. Just I love the storybook sort of telling of it. I love the characters are super charming. It's turn-based gameplay, which I really like. I know a lot of people don't really care for it too much, but I don't care. I like it. I like the strats that come with it. I think it's fun. Probably some of the best Final Fantasy music. Fight me. And actually there's another that I also absolutely adore, which I will be playing on stream probably in November, because there's another game I really want to play. Anyway, that would be Baten Kaitos.
Yes.
The Lost Ocean, I believe. Yeah, the remaster just came out recently, and I would have started it, but I actually ordered a physical copy because apparently North America is not getting physical copies. What even is that? So I had to wait for that, and also we were working on the visual novel, of course. So yeah, I will be playing that in November. That is one of my absolute favorite games. I love the style of it. Again, love the characters. The card-based gameplay style is super fun. Music is absolutely baller. What's his face? Motoi Sakuraba, the composer. Like, oh my gosh, I love every single one of the tracks on this game. Yeah, just I look forward to sharing that with everyone in the Nova Swarm channel.
Yeah, it was funny that you mentioned it because maybe not funny because I was expecting you to say Baten Kaitos. The other day, like a few weeks ago, I was talking with actor Pat while he was on stream, and the discussion of speedruns came up, and I have the cursed knowledge that the Baten Kaitos 100% speedrun is like 200 hours. It is ridiculously long to beat that game, even just as a speedrun.
Oh dear.
Infamous for how long it takes to run through it, because there is a system in the game as part of the 100% route where you have to wait in real time for it to complete. It's like an alchemic material or whatever it is.
It's because the cards, they age with time. That was one of the selling points of the game when it first came out in the GameCube, is that when you get these cards, they basically hold the essence of a variety of things. So you can get a card for bananas, okay? And over time, you can consume them, and they're a healing item. But if you leave them for too long, after so many days, it will actually become rotten fruit. That is a thing that happens. Yes. And every single sort of card, Magus as it's referred to, has this sort of time-changing thing, which even, let's say another one, apple. If you specifically have an apple and you have it for a very long time, I believe it becomes the forbidden fruit.
Oh, okay.
Because as like the myth goes, like people believe that, oh, the fruit of knowledge was an apple. So yeah, if you have it for a long period of time, it will become a chronos item. A time-based item, because time is an element in that. And it'd be the forbidden fruit, which is kind of neat. And a lot of other items do that. So I'm guessing that's where that's part of why the speedrun takes a very long time, because you actually need real time for these items to change. There's as far as I know, there's no way to force that. I don't know if time jumping, you go into the system and you change the calendar manually. I'm not sure if that it probably has an effect, but I don't know the rules of speedrunning, so.
I believe that it actually counts real time, so even if you change the clock, it's not like it's gonna skip ahead and do it for you. It has to be actual time, which is wild to me.
That is wild.
Whenever people like stream it, a lot of the speedrun is okay, they just went to bed and they're sleeping for a little bit.
That is too funny though. Just like, I get it because I've played this game and I understand, right, it takes a long time for these things to change, but just to imagine speedrunners actually trying to do that and taking, to having that nap time just to allow their items to change is absolutely wild to me.
Yeah, it is infamous for being the longest speedrun, just in both irony and challenge and sheer length.
I love this game so much.
Okay, Rig wants to know, what is the best thing to dip a French fry in and why?
Oh, gee. A French fry. Okay. Obviously the fry has to be already very good. My personal favorite thing is... No. Okay, sorry, I had like two different thoughts happen because I think the overall best thing to dip your French fry in, and some people on the Western Hemisphere might be upset at me for this one or might think it's weird, is mayonnaise. I think it's one of the best things. It's kind of basic, but it's one of the best things to mix your salty fries with and have a nice bite out of. I believe it's also one of the original condiments that French fries were served with.
Yes.
Is mayonnaise. I do remember that I once knew someone who had never thought of this ever, and this individual saw me dipping French fries in mayonnaise and gave me the most dirty look, like, "Why are you doing that?" And I'm like, "What?" I gave her a look and said, "Okay, listen, I've seen you eat your scrambled eggs with ketchup. I don't want to hear it." And she's like, "Okay." And then I gave this person a try, like, "Here, just try it first." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, that was yummy. Okay, I'll stop." It's like, yeah, now you understand.
I just proved it to you. What more do you want from me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think a good second contender would be barbecue sauce, but I really like barbecue sauce, so that doesn't, that's a biased opinion, I think.
Yeah. Ellie actually just took the words out of my mouth. If I was to dip a fry into anything, it is definitely like a chili mayo, chipotle, whatever you can use to spice it up a little bit. And it's funny that you mentioned the ketchup on eggs because I thought that was normal. And apparently a lot of people don't think that that's normal.
See, I don't, like, I know I didn't quite, well, actually, no, because, all right, so, in the culture which I was raised in, people would make, let's say, fried rice, which may or may not include, like, scrambled eggs, and just add ketchup to it. It's just a whatever, right? Like, you don't really think about it too much. So even though I never particularly put scrambled eggs with ketchup, it wasn't necessarily a weird thing or, like a, "Why would you do that?" sort of reaction. It's just, oh, okay, some people do this.
Yeah.
So like when that individual like gave me that reaction for me putting mayonnaise with my fries is like, what are you doing? What do you mean? Like, it's just a different condiment. I'm not like, I don't know, like putting I'm trying to think of some really out there combination, like chocolate with my mashed potatoes, like.
The one that I always bring up is scientifically. Someone always gets angry when I bring this up when I say it's scientific. Scientifically, avocado and dark chocolate are a perfect flavor combination. They taste good regardless of their texture. That is included in the scientific basis that they complement each other very well. And everyone hates me for that fact. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what else you want from me. When people ask me for a combo, that's the one I like to give.
I like almost want to try that just to like I don't know if it's just out of like my gullible nature, but like it gets me thinking like, really?
No,
Would it
I
actually
promise.
go?
There's no like I'm not joshing you. I'm not gonna make you like eat something then you eat it and you're like, ugh, this is gross, and I laugh. No, this is legitimate. I've actually served this at a restaurant before, and people loved it. They thought it was great.
Like, I'm thinking about the two flavors like in my head. It's like I won't completely knock it right away because avocado is more of like a savory type of thing, and depending the chocolate, it can also have a more savory sweetness because it's not super sharp.
Mhm.
So it's not completely, that great. It just sounds weird, but
Yeah.
when you really think about it, it's like, would it be weird though? Maybe it might. Maybe there's some merit to this.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you eat an avocado, like it does have its flavor. It's very distinct, but it's not an overpowering thing. And the chocolate like complements that very well because chocolate, especially if it's dark, can be very bitter, and it just works very well. It's like what October said and Rig is saying with the avocado mousse and
Mhm.
puddings. It just works very well. You can make it very creamy, and I mean we've had like the avocado like salsa, the chunky avocado stuff. It's kind of the same process. The guacamole. If you
Now
mix it
that
up, you could call it a
being at
guacamocha.
yeah, Buffy's guacamocha actually just reminded me of the Mexican chocolate sauce, the mole
Mhm.
that you can get, which is made with chocolate, but it does not taste like chocolate. It's a savory, like sort of almost hot sauce that you can put with meats, and it's very good. But it
Ah.
is indeedly made with chocolate. It's one of those like it sounds weird, but then you have it, and it's like, no, it's not what you think at all.
Now y'all are just making me very hungry.
Hey, this is what I'm saying. You need to have a snack whenever you're on the Nova Swim channel.
I'll remember this when I interview the next of you three.
Yeah, we really like food. We like going to places. We like, trying new things. We just really enjoy food.
Okay. I will begin my 3 big questions for you. These are ones that I let you know beforehand because
Okay.
they require a decent bit of thought, I feel. So, my first question for you is, if you could ask the next interviewee anything, what would you like to ask them?
If they were the gym leader, like in Pokemon, what type would they most likely use, and what would be their star Pokemon? If they're like super into Pokemon or at least know a little bit. If they don't know, they don't have to answer that one. But what type would they have?
Okay, that's a good question. It's funny because I only assume that you know that Rig and Ellie are going to also be interviewed at some point, so this could be going to either of them or a different space VTuber.
Oh, geez, yeah, I think I thought about that before. Yeah, before considering that. Oh, wait, this could go to Rig or Ellie. Okay.
You never
Well,
know.
in that case, we haven't exactly, or it might have been briefly mentioned on one of our other streams, but we can. They can talk about that more if they get that question.
Yeah,
During
yeah.
their Poison Points session.
You never know. It could be one of the other two.
Yeah.
All right. My second question for you, and I will specify this can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic, depending on your preference. If you were a drink at the bar behind you, what kind of drink would you be, and what would you call yourself?
I don't think I quite thought of like what to call it, but I would love to see some type of I feel like I would be something floral. I really enjoy floral flavors like a lot. And I'm thinking I would be something along the lines of like a rose honey latte.
Oh.
Something that has, like the sweet honey flavors with like the fragrant rose in there. It would probably have to be made with like a different type of milk though, like I don't know, oat milk or something to balance it out a little bit better than like 2%.
Mhm.
But Vitini. Oh god, I even forgot the alcohol they use in that. But as far as what I would call it, oh gosh, I think what I thought initially would be like a candied rose latte, or maybe it could be Lyra's candied rose latte.
Okay.
Because instead of playing on like the purple colors for me, it'll play on the secondary pink colors that I use. Something that you don't fully expect. Something that definitely is for those with like acquired tastes, because I know when it comes to floral flavors, most people just think of soap. I think they have a nice like subtle sweetness to them, so it's not for everyone, but for those who want to try something a little different.
No,
Yeah, I think.
this is good. This is good. I like this a lot.
Oh, bonus too. You can have a little you can have it garnished with candied roses on top, or the rose petals.
Oh yes, now you're talking. I think I've mentioned this on stream once. In my past life, we'll call it, I wanted to be a barista, like open up my own coffee shop or bistro, and I had this idea for like specials from different cultures in terms of coffee. And the one that came to my mind first was like a lotus coffee for like Japan or somewhere in Asia, and it has that similar like somewhat dyed red because of the syrup, and with like a candied rose or lotus on top. I think it would look really cool, very appealing to the eyes, and of course it would be extremely sweet. So I can see what you mean with the oat milk in this regard to sort of balance out that flavor. This is very cool.
I do have some of this coffee knowledge. So actually, your lotus latte would actually be pretty good. I'm not sure if espresso would work with this. I feel like this would have to be like a milk drink. Or like a tea latte rather, instead of an espresso latte.
Yeah.
But that would actually be like super good. And I think to add on to my little rose latte, now that I'm thinking about it even more, I think mine would have to be iced. Sometimes the sweeter drinks, they are better if they're iced. There's some like chemical thing that happens when you add a lot of sugar to something. It's better for it to be iced. Actually, this is why Pepsi specifically has a lot more sugar in it, because it was designed with the commercial fridge in mind. Whereas Coca-Cola does not have that much sugar because the fridge was not widely accessible at the time that Coca-Cola was released.
Yeah, they also put cocaine in it.
Oh yeah, there's that too in the original recipe.
All right, and my last question for you is, who would you like to raid?
I think we're going to raid into Bonnie, Banicula Live. It looks like they're playing some Elden Ring, sort of Souls-like, which is a bit of what I'll be delving into in a few weeks, seeing if I defeat Final Fantasy 16 very soon. I'm dying for it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm like so ready for it. But anyway, not Elden Ring specifically, but a Souls-like game. So yeah, I think they'd be an adequate raid target. Perfect.
I was actually like going to shout you out, and I was like, Lyra. No, wait, no, it's all three of you at Nova Swarm. So if there's anybody in chat who has not followed Nova Swarm, you can go find them there at the shout out. Also, with this guest link, I should say. Lyra, you have been an amazing guest. Thank you for joining me. Especially, maybe not for you, but for me, it was somewhat short notice to be like, hey, next week I want to interview you.
You know what? It's okay. These things happen, but I mean, we got it to work. We found a date, so it all works, you know?
Yeah,
would it be all right if I also linked our little game that we made?
Oh, yes. Here, hold on. You'll have to send that to me because you will be smitten by the automod gods.
Darn. Okay, yeah, let me do that here real quick. I had the link ready. So there it is. Collaboration between all three of us, completed all within September. So check it on out. It's a nice little horror visual novel that we worked very hard on.
Yes. Which I will be playing for Halloween this year. And I'm excited to get through it. Actually, Vector did say that he got the bad ending earlier, So we'll see if I.
Yeah, I was watching him play through a bit, and I saw which route he was taking. Like, oh, okay, so that's the ending he got. But there are several endings, so you can play through it. You can play through it multiple times. You can save. You can even go back in case you're like, wait, no, I didn't want that decision. You know,
Mhm.
go through it that way.
You can name a
And
plant.
You can name a plant, indeed.
Yeah,
Yes, you
very
can.
important. Yeah. I'm very excited for that one. That's the big selling point for me.
Oh, he got a main ending, but it wasn't a good. So there's a lot of it. There's like main story endings, and then there's other endings, but
Mhm.
I won't spoil it for you.
Of course, of course. So I'll be definitely playing that on Halloween. It'll be a great way to round off the month with something that is visually scary and maybe not in the moment, like you're living it, like Resident Evil scary.
Oh
So,
gosh, no.
and with that, I think that's everything. Lyra, do you have any advice that you can part with chat today?
Any good advice? If you're ever at a coffee shop and they have special little terms for their sizes, you don't have to use them. It's okay to say small, medium, or large. People will understand you, I promise you, and you will not embarrass yourself.
So what you're telling me is that no one's gonna like hop over the counter and beat the crap out of me if I say something
No.
wrong?
No, they wouldn't. They would rather you say small, medium, or large than mess up the size and you get the wrong size. So it's okay. We can all understand each other.
I actually had the pleasure of working as a barista for 7 days. I wasn't very good at it, but because I had zero training and I was in a very high volume hotel. But it was always a joke that was brought up that if you say small coffee instead of like a a venti or something, that we would absolutely kick them out of the hotel permanently.
Wow.
But that's a story for another time. Have a good night, everybody, and we will see you over on Bonnie's side. Make sure that we give her lots of love. And I'll hopefully the Banshee's curse will will take effect. So good night, everybody. That's my favorite part. They can still hear us slightly, but
Oh no. So
Oh,
I
no.
can't just say stuff. I can't just say I've been drinking coffee this whole time.
Oh my goodness. Are you the type of coffee drinker that